What's up, everybody? This is Steve Strelacci, and today we are looking at the new Blackstar Amped 3 from their Department 10. This is now the third in the series, hence the name Amped 3, and this thing does a ton of great stuff. They're really forward-thinking when it comes to the perfect direct solution for guitar players. I mean, the future's here. This is the wave to ride. I mean, this type of thing can handle multiple applications. And the most appealing part to me here is that this is something that can give you great amp tones in the box. It can go direct to front of house with their cabinet software. It can also go and power a cabinet. So right behind me here, I have my Blackstar St. James Vertical 212 cabinet, mic'd with a 57 and a Royer 121. And I'm able to power that cabinet with this. It's got a 100-watt power amp in it, power scaling to 20 watt or 1 watt. You can also control the response of your power tubes. So you have 6L6, EL34, EL84, and those will translate into the cabinet and simultaneously can send a cabinet to front of house, plugging in direct, so you don't even need a microphone on stage. You can just go XLR direct, and you'll be able to get great tones in any and all applications. It also has a effects loop, which we're going to explore in a little bit. Looking across the back panel, you see on the top you have a 1/4 inch in, 1/4 inch out. Underneath it is the effects loop. You can set that to be -10 or +4, depending if you're going for a line or instrument level. This will be able to be a USB interface. And then you have a fan in the middle there. You also have your MIDI in and your MIDI through. You have 2 speaker outs. You can either power an 8 ohm or a 16 ohm cabinet. I'm using the 16 ohm tap for the St. James cabinet behind me. Also, one of the coolest features of this, and something that really no other direct solution offers, is a 9-volt out. And this has 2 9-volt outs that can power up to 500 milliamps. So you can actually daisy chain a couple of drive pedals or use a more power hungry pedal. I'm going to be using the Eventide TriceraChorus for this demo. It's in the effects loop and it's being powered by the Amped 3. So now let's take a look at the front panel here. And you'll see that you have your 4 foot switches: clean, crunch, overdrive, boost, and reverb. And one thing that you'll assume about this is that it's a shared EQ, which I cannot stand when companies come out with units like this that have a shared EQ. But the Amp 3 ships in what they call patch mode. And in patch mode, you can actually save and recall your settings per foot switch. This is an awesome feature. So if I show you right now in the cabinets, in the Architect software, you can also do all your editing on the desktop and on the unit. You have the right to choose, which is huge in my opinion. I love that we have the option to do both. So if I flip through my foot switches here, you'll see the stock settings for each foot switch. And you'll see that those changes aren't reflected on the actual unit. So if you look at these knobs, they're not going to correspond to the ones up there because those are saved in patch mode. And so there's also what they call manual mode. And if you switch to manual mode, they call it what you see is what you get. So if you want a shared EQ, you want everything to be the same, you can do it that way. Or you can control everything through MIDI, which is another great feature. We're not touching MIDI today, but if you have any requests for MIDI stuff, let me know in the comments below. And my favorite part is when you do edit the knobs. So check it out. I'm rolling this bass knob, and you see in the Architect software that this is also being reflected in real time on the computer, which is really cool when you're making these presets and you're dialing everything in the way you want it. And then you could just save that as a setting, and then when you click on that foot switch, it'll recall your settings. And as far as these 2 foot switches, the boost and the reverb, you can dial these in particularly. I don't think stock you're able to assign different reverbs to different foot switches. I could be wrong about that, but as I explore it, I'm sure I'll figure it out. But you can tweak the reverb. You can also go in and choose your reverb type. As far as the reverbs on board, you have 2 options here. You have a dark and a light reverb. You can tweak those to taste in the Architect software. As you can see here, we have your medium room. You can set that to whatever you want to set it to. You can set your width if you're running in stereo, and you have your reverb level. And you also have a bunch of different stuff here. In the Architect software, just real quick, you have all these options for cabinets. You can also choose DI if you want to just go in direct. You have all these choices of cabinets here, which is a very big selection. And once you select your cabinet, you're also able to move the microphone in real time right here. So you see there's your microphone. Once you click on the mic, you can choose the mic. You can choose it to be on or off axis, and you'll see the change reflected right there. It also has an EQ up here that you can use, which is really powerful. And you have a bunch of EQ presets. Like if you're using a 57, you want to just go right there and use the 57 preset. It's got a 121 preset. Bunch of cool presets if you plan on going direct. And as far as the boost goes, this last foot switch here, you can toggle between pre and post. So you could put the boost into the amp, or you could put the boost after the amp. So before the amp will give you a little bit more saturation and gain and push you into a more compressed level. If you want it as an actual solo boost where you plan on getting above the band, I'd recommend putting it in post so that it'll lift the overall signal as opposed to boost into the front end. All right, so let's explore the presets. So far on the clean channel, you see the settings are dialed up there in the Architect, and here's the bass clean sound. This is on the warm setting. You have a warm or a bright, so you have two options per foot switch. So here's that clean channel. I'm using my Epiphone inspired by Gibson 335, which I really love. Here is the warm preset as far as the clean sound goes. Again, you're hearing the real mic in the real cabinet in the room with me. And switch that over to the bright. So you see when it's in the post position, it's going to give you a little bit more oomph as opposed to in the pre position. Man, the clean tones are really nice off the bat. That's just the preset. I didn't dial that in myself. Let's go to this crunch preset. Now you can see it switched to the EL84 power tube. That seems a little bit less output. So now here's a cool thing. You see where the volume is on the Architect software. I'm just going to go match it, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit. You also get seamless switching. That's also another cool thing. I wasn't expecting to try that, but there you go. So now we have our crunch sound that's a little bit more level matched. Then you have your super crunch, which is going to dial up that gain on the crunch channel. Really like that. Let's check the overdrive, which is going to be now our high gain. This is the OD1. Nice, and I'm sure we can get a little bit more gnarly with the gain if we jack that up. So now you see that the boost is not bringing up the level any, but if I switch to the post section, switching to OD2. back to our warm, clean sound. I like those presets as they are, and I'm going to now put on the chorus pedal, which I have in the effects loop, and we are going to hear what this sounds like. So it's taking the pedal really well. If I put on the crunch channel, let's go and crunch with the gain all the way down. So you see it's handling the pedal really, really well. I love that chorus, by the way. If you haven't checked out the Eventide TriceraChorus, it's a killer chorus pedal. It does a ton of different cool things. And now if you wanted to tweak one of these, let's tweak this this crunch channel, because I think it's a little muddy for me. So now if I like that better, all I have to do is press and hold. And once it starts blinking, it will now remember those settings. So if we go to the architecture now, and I say I would change all these knobs around here, put these in all random places, and then I go to the clean channel, back to crunch, you'll see those settings are recalled that we just saved. Cool, so while we have this cool crunch sound, I also messed around a lot with this between the 100 watt, 20 watt, and the 1 watt modes. Right now I'm in 1 watt with the master super low. If I were to go to the 100 watt and then bring the master down, I don't really hear a ton of difference between, you might hear like a little bit of a level discrepancy because I'm just doing this quickly by ear in the room. But you'll definitely have the most headroom with the 100 watt, and then if I go to the 20 watt, I mean, even that in the room is like screaming loud. But sticking with the 1 watt gives me the most flexibility in a room like this where I could really dial it in perfect. And now for the sake of completing this demo, let's record this direct. So this is XLR straight into my system here. So now when you are here, you have these cabinets active. So you can save which cabinet you want per channel. Also, you have 3 that you could leave on here. You have a bunch of Blackstar presets here that you could skim through and try, but you can only have 3 on board. So you pick your 3 favorites and you can mix and match them as you choose. You can have one separate for each one. So here you have the clean channel. This is the stock cabinet for the clean channel. We have, let's go with the USA combo for this channel. Yeah, that's a little bright. Back to the UK combo. Then say we go to our crunch channel. We want to try out the tight 412. See, that's the one I dialed in the room that I thought sounded pretty good. But now, direct is a little bit of a different story. And now I can dial all of these in with their specialized cabinet. And again, you can explore all these EQ presets and the cabinet presets all within the architecture software. So that's what it sounds like direct. And you don't have to pick and choose direct or mic'd. I have to do that because I only have 2 mic pre's here with the current setup. So that's why I did those separately. So the first 2 are the 2 mics blended real in the room. And then when you heard the direct, it was just going mono out of this straight in with the stock cabs and the stock settings. All right, and that is the Blackstar Amped 3. This thing completely kicks butt. I'm really, really liking this one. I love this as just a full gigging solution too. I mean, you have your 3 channels plus a boost for each channel. I mean, this is something you could just take to a gig and play on your own without anything. Take it to a jam. It's so useful to have this because it could power a cabinet as well as send the signal to front of house. And I mean, really does it all. Plug in your favorite multi-effects like a Line 6 HX Stomper or HX Effects. Throw it onto your pedal board. Put your whole pedal board in this effects loop and basically just go crazy with possibilities with this thing. As far as replacing an amp situation, this sounds just as good as any of these amp heads do, and that's probably saying a lot. I mean, my Soldano, my Bassman, all of them sound great, but this does the job just the same, to be honest. It sounds great here in the room. Let me know what you think of what it sounds like in post after the recording. What you're going to be hearing is completely unprocessed raw audio, just straight into the DAW, by the way. And yeah, leave all your questions, comments, and feedback in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I also want to thank Blackstar for sponsoring this and sending this out. I had this in advance so that I can put it out for you guys on launch day, and all of my thoughts, opinions, and criticisms will be my own. And as far as criticisms go for this product, and as far as criticisms go for the Amped 3, I really don't have much bad to say. I mean, it's got a great powerful EQ on it. It's got the 3 channels. It's got 2 selectors per channel. And I'm sure if you use MIDI, you could probably select all of these to double the amount of sounds that you have on here, which is another really useful and powerful tool. I don't even know. What would I add to this? It has the effects loop for you to add your post-amp effects in. I don't know. I honestly don't have a criticism for this thing, as crazy as that sounds. I do think it sounds great. I think it's a nice size. It's great to replace your amp. Hope you guys give it a chance, and yeah.